Okay, welcome to the very first version of Politics for People Who Hate Politics. I'm your host, Lucy Steigerwald, and I have my brother, Joe, who is the publisher, basically, of the Stag Blog, and he does lots of other exciting things. We have Cory Massimino, who has written for the Stag Blog and Center for Stateless Society, and he likes to fight with his libertarian elders sometimes, which is good. We like that to an extent. And we have Michelle Montalvo, who is a perpetual intern and a sci-fi enthusiast, and her lower third says a privileged white Hispanic, and maybe we'll talk about that. Um, okay, let's see. Okay, I think we were going to talk a little about Glenn Greenwald to start. He has a new book out, and I've kind of lost track of some of the NSA stuff. And I've also seen that obviously right-wing people kind of have always hated Greenwald for daring to leak the U.S.'s secrets and all that. But a couple of radical leftists that I am aware of and read their blogs and stuff have gotten annoyed because they think he's being too timid with the release of the secrets, and basically they want a more Chelsea Manning-esque fuck it. Here are all the secrets of the NSA. So I don't know. At this point, how do you guys feel about Greenwald? Do you still love him undyingly? I'm gonna ask Michelle first because she is really into Greenwald. Do you still love him like you once did, Michelle?
I do, but I mean, I'm excited about the book. Um, I do love Glenn Greenwald, and I was kind of iffy on when he first announced his. I love Greenwald. I can't even remember what is it? The Intercept? Is that his
Mm-hmm.
site? Yeah, there were a lot of people who were coming out and saying, "Hey, we don't like the donors," criticizing that, and I thought it's always healthy to have some sort of skepticism about any sort of endeavor, but it was obscuring a lot of the good work that I think Glenn and Scahill and everyone's doing. But yeah.
Joe or Cory, want to chime in on Greenwald?
Yeah, I like what he's doing. I don't really know much about the book uh, that's coming out, but I think like the work he's doing as a journalist is extremely valuable because he's really one of the only journalists that's uh, speaking so I don't know. He's unafraid in what he's talking about. He's really the only one getting a lot of information out there about what the government's actually doing. So I like what he's doing.
Joe, like, do you like that Greenwald is more of a and Snowden, I guess rather, like they're a little more careful than Chelsea Manning was, and is that good or is that like selling out or something?
I think he's doing the right thing, and I think it's more important to get this stuff out there. But I think it's also, he doesn't want to spend the rest of his life in jail, so he has to be careful. He doesn't want to get thrown. I'm actually surprised he hasn't gotten assassinated yet by somebody.
Snowden
But
or Greenwald?
both, really. I mean,
Yeah.
but I mean, he's doing the right thing. If he wants to make some money off of it, I'm not going to be like the Pando dudes who, just hate the fact that he has all these secrets, and they always accuse him of selling them to the highest bidder, and he's such a dirty capitalist for,
And
not being.
meanwhile, they're with Peter Thiel. Meanwhile,
Yeah, exactly.
there's
I mean, it's all the same. They're a bunch of idiots, but Greenwald's important. He's probably the best journalist in the world right now, the most important, definitely. So yeah, I got no problem with Glenn or the Intercept.
okay.
It seems
Yeah.
odd to me for people to criticize him for. I mean, he's watching out for himself at the same time as releasing all these secrets. So if people love him so much, then why aren't they also acknowledging he has to like watch his own back when he's doing something as dangerous as this? Like, it's probably better in the long run for him to not to be more careful than someone like Chelsea Manning, because in the long run he'll probably release more secrets than he would otherwise.
By the way, Michelle, since we are technically weird, I muted you. So if you want, if you want to talk, like, sort of
Raise your hand.
gesture. Sorry about that. Okay, I will unmute you.
You can, yeah. I think the coast is clear as far as interference.
Okay, good.
I missed for a second because of technical difficulties. Missed whoever mentioned Peter Thiel.
That was
it you,
me.
Lucy?
Yeah.
Yeah. In what context? Just kind of like his relationship with the government.
Oh, Teal is involved with the. I hate to say his name because that's how much I hate Mark Ames, because I think he's just a colossal scumbag in every possible way. But you know, he's the one who decided like that Radley Balco, because he got some coke money once, you know, was like a hack. And meanwhile, Ames and a couple other people are now in an outfit that gets some money from Peter Thiel, who is a rich guy who's had some association. He's a rich libertarian who's had some association with the government. I mean, it just underlines that Thiel is a giant hypocrite, I think, which delights me, of course.
Wait, Teal or Ames?
Oh, sorry, Ames is a hypocrite. Yes.
We love you, Teal.
I actually don't like Peter Thiel that much anymore because I was really late to finding out about what's it called, Palantir, the software company or whatever. That, yeah, I was late to the game on that, despite having kept up with most NSA like news and revelations. And his reasoning behind that, I mean, the way he reconciles being involved is that he doesn't want another 9/11 to happen and erode more of our liberties. And I was like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, I some of Thiel's close ties with the government has made me bummed out. I like Mark Ames being shown to have absolutely no credibility, even with his own high standards. But yeah, I'm getting turned off by Thiel as well. I don't. But at the same time, I don't love everything like the Kochs have ever done, except obviously give me money in a really distant sort of way because I was at Reason. But I mean, they've done some great stuff, and they give so much money to good stuff. You're not going to get clean money ever, and it's not going to be ever 100% clean from a billionaire. But at the same time, like, libertarian journalism is so you kind of need the big billionaires, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you can't always be principled. Sometimes you have to accept that, you know, there's shades of gray involved in this, and you kind of have to pick whoever is the least shitty.
Yeah, I think that's true. Okay. I say I'm losing track of time a little here, but I want to move on and talk about Justin Amash a little bit. And this is, you know, the entire point of this panel show was like the hatred of politics, and there's no reason to pretend that politics isn't what it is, which is dirty, evil business. And then at the same time, like, I've been thinking lately that if Justin Amash, the congressman, if he doesn't get reelected, like, I'm gonna be so colossally pissed for someone who hates politics, and like his own, you know, supposedly the Republicans, his own party, like, are running a dude against him, and like, Amash is not perfect, but I trust him more than Rand Paul, and to trust a politician seems gross, but he's like the one guy. He really sometimes, like, I don't know. What do you guys think about Amash?
I'll take this one. Again, with, you know, the shades of gray, he's obviously not perfect, but for a politician, he's pretty damn close. And, you know, I kind of agree with you. If he loses, I mean, he's getting challenged by, you know, the state of Michigan. Republicans don't like him, but fortunately, you know, the Kochs do like him, and a lot of the national people like him. So I think it'll be okay, but it kind of doesn't bode well for, you know, the future of freedom and, you know, the Republican Party, who, you know, talks this. I thought maybe they'd be going in the right direction by now, and yet they still do, you know, shit like this. And, you know, probably their purest, best member, they're trying to drag under the bus. So.
And they call him a liberal too, which drives me nuts. They're the ones like voting with Dianne Feinstein on the god awful stuff she gets up to, but like Amash is too liberal. It's ridiculous.
Well, do you guys think it's a worthwhile pursuit to kind of like infiltrate the Republican Party with libertarians? Because if it's not, then I don't see the point in Amash being a Republican. That's
a giant question, and I think that I don't know. I usually feel that like I wouldn't do it, but like, and Ron Paul, I was never like a total Paul worshiper, but anybody who denies like what Ron Paul has done for libertarianism is completely insane. So there's some good in it. It's just a mixed bag, and I couldn't stomach the compromising. Like, you have to sell out as a politician. Even Amash. Like, I saw him at Students for Liberty, and he's talking about, you know, he votes on the Constitution, but he basically would like to vote on, you know, I don't know, something close to voluntarist type grounds, I think. Like, he's very Ron Paulish. I don't know, Cory. Like, do you think it's a bad idea to even try to take over the Republicans?
I don't think it's going to really be. I don't think it's going to work. You know, I'm very skeptical of that actually working. So I mean, I don't think Ron Paul did any good through trying to infiltrate the Republican Party. When he did good, it was through more of like getting the word out there. It was more of an educational campaign rather than a political campaign.
I think that's the realistic way of talking about it, though. I mean, the fact, like, Ron Paul was never going to win, as Catherine Mingle Ward once said on air and got lots of hate mail for. But he did stand in front of a national audience and talk about blowback and be like, guys, if we bombed other countries, they'd be mad. Like, this basic shit that nobody understands. And that is a big deal, and I have to love Paul forever for that, if nothing else.
Sure.
I mean, I think it is important. I think it's beneficial for there to be some libertarian elements in the Republican Party because, you know, if there's not, they can basically just completely marginalize most any libertarian thought. You know, the fact that Ron Paul was a Republican let him be up on that stage and gave him more notoriety than he would if he was just, you know, libertarian, crazy libertarian running for president. Mm-hmm. So I think, you know, people like Amash, both the Pauls, the other sort of libertarian elements in the government, I think it definitely helps. Whether or not, you know, it helps enough for our liking is a different story, but I think it definitely has shifted the conversation towards a more libertarian Republican Party.
Yeah, I think that's true, and that's good. I do know some libertarians I really respect. They get nervous, even if Rand Paul, say, is president and he's, you know, he's like a vast improvement. He's not Rothbard or Mises or somebody, but he's this vast improvement. They're still afraid that libertarianism being tied up with politics. I mean, people think Reagan was a libertarian because he said nice things about libertarians, and there's a photo of him reading the Freeman. And obviously, and that, you know, gives fodder to liberals who say, like, oh, small government, well, Reagan sucks, so small government sucks. So there's like a school of people that I'm sort of sympathetic to who basically just say there's no good can come of this, y'all. But I don't know, at the end of the day, like, I get happy when I see Amash doing stuff, and I got happy when Rand Paul did his drone filibuster, so.
And not even, like, just completely on a political level. I like that Amash is, correct me if I'm wrong, he's half Palestinian, half Syrian. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's cool to have him talking from that perspective, and it's also cool to have him posting on Facebook the way he votes, and, you know, having someone who's young and fresh on the scene is important, even if we're, if it doesn't do much to change the face of the Republican Party. I think those little things are still cool to see, and I like Amash.
Yeah, that about sums it up, I guess. Oh, Joe, do you want more
words?
words?
I was going to say I do really like the way he explains every time he votes. I think that's hugely important, and I think it's a definite underrated quality that he actually has. You know, he takes the time to go and explain why he votes this way, and, you know, no one else does that. So I think that's really cool that he does that too.
Yeah, I mean, that's another one of those, like, low standards things. Like, he reads the bills he votes on, and he tells you why he did it. Like, oh my God.
This is what we've come to.
It's pretty bad, yeah. All right. I was going to ask a little bit about the, like, Nigeria bring back our girls thing. Mm-hmm. And I don't, like, it's okay to talk about this because I'm going to talk about the fact that none of us, like, knows anything about Nigeria, basically. Correct. And this whole campaign feels very, like, Coney 2012, like, I don't know if it hurts to, like, spread awareness about about the kidnapped girls and stuff, except that we live in a world where the U.S. intervenes all the time. And I'm actually gonna, if my phone will let me, I found this tweet from a Nigerian that was linked on Rookie magazine. And this guy says, for 4 years, Nigerians have tried to understand these homicidal monsters. Your new interest, thanks, simplifies nothing, solves nothing. I don't know, like, are we just like white people caring and it doesn't matter, and maybe an ill-advised intervention that, as usual, God knows what it'll do, the ripple effect. Like, what do you guys think that this is? I don't know. Is awareness doing anything? Is this just trendiness, social trendiness? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a fucking waste of time. I mean, you have, like you said, like rich white people, celebrities. I saw like Justin Timberlake, I think, was doing the picture thing. Like, what the fuck? That's not accomplishing anything. And then it's even more infuriating when you have like Michelle Obama, who's, I mean, she's the first lady, and her idea of like doing something important is holding up a piece of paper and posting a picture on Twitter. Like, she has a lot of power, and that's her idea of doing something important. Meanwhile, her husband is killing hundreds of innocent people in other countries, and she doesn't seem to care. So it's really fucking infuriating, if you ask me.
Yeah, sounds about right. Anyone else?
I mean, I don't know. It seems like this is like a difficult line to walk when calling attention to international tragedies or events. I don't think I'm as cynical as Cory. I mean, I agree with you on the Michelle Obama thing. Like, that made me feel sick to my stomach. But I'm not as cynical as most people on hashtag activism, if you want to call it that. Because a lot of libertarians actually, who tend to treat hashtag activism unfavorably, like using those strategies to get our messages across. And I think it's an important media. And what needs to be kind of brought up is just educating ourselves as much as possible before we employ this hashtag activism. And, I forgot where I saw it, but I think it was like a Tumblr post saying, hey, check out these Nigerian activists, check out their blogs, and just making sure that the hashtag activism doesn't, call, like, embolden American militarism.
Yeah.
And just, awareness is good. I like knowing about these things. I think it's important to have these conversations, but I guess my point is it's a very difficult line to walk.
Yeah, and it's probably too difficult for most of the retweeting world, which isn't an insult, because you can't know everything about everything. But when it
would be nice for them to, learn something, Even places like Vox were running these stupid stories about, hashtag activism can work. And then I forget where else I saw it, but someone from Nigeria wrote, an actual expert and not some guy, working for Ezra Klein, wrote that, it's not really helping. It's not going to help them with their own internal problems. It's fine if, it's good for white America and everyone else to, feel bad about this and to call attention to it, but in reality, it's probably not going to help them at all, and it's probably going to lead to, some kind of drone, active drones in Nigeria now. Thanks a lot, Michelle Obama, on your hashtag Bring Back Our Girls. So it probably just, in the long run, is probably going to create more problems than, it's worth for us on Twitter to know about it.
I mean, like, that's why I think some type of, like Justin Raimondo, who pays me, so I can't insult him, and I like him, actually, but I think that he sometimes is excessive in his criticisms of people like John Glazer or Anthony Gregory, like literally the most anti-war people I have met in my life. Anytime that they criticize a foreign leader, people like Justin Raimondo, Ron Paul Institute people, they get incredibly nervous because they think that any type of, holy shit, that thing happening in country X is just awful, will lead to American intervention. And I think that ideally you want the nuance to be able to say, oh my God, Putin's a creep, without that, and then let's not intervene. But I understand people being afraid to even say that is fucked up in that particular country because the U.S. loves intervening. So I don't know. I guess that covers that. We solved Nigeria, guys. Great. And to even all right, I think that we're gonna wrap stuff up with a little tedious libertarian inside baseball. Endless infighting happens in libertarianism. It's happened before any of us were born. You know, it's always Rothbard's mad at Cato, and Cato is a sellout, and just, you know, I guess, all right, here's how I'm going to approach this question. Cory describes himself as an actual left libertarian. And I never quite got the purpose of that because I think I don't want to pick a wing myself, regardless of if I focus more on certain issues or not. To me, libertarianism, you're supposed to be more awesome than left or right. But, you know, Cory covers awesome stuff, and Cory's legit. But, like, I think there's been this push and pull lately, like the privilege talk and, like, feminism talk and stuff. And I generally think that the old guard is freaking out a little too much about the conversation, but I don't think that, you know, everything about feminism and libertarianism is great either. I don't know. Open up thoughts. Anyone?
I mean, I think a certain kind of infighting is productive. I engage in a lot of it, but yeah, when it becomes people just like yelling at each other on Twitter and there's no like substantive argument going on, and I think that's a lot of what's happening with certain people, and especially with the whole privilege argument, it stops being productive. But I think infighting, in the sense of just talking to each other about the disagreements within libertarianism, is a good thing to do.
I mean, I think that there's like potentially room for libertarian feminism and certain sort of more left-leaning things, but I don't think they should be a litmus test. I understand that certain people get peeved because they feel like they're being told what to do, and there's this, you know, perhaps immature response, but it's still just like, don't tell me what to do, like, don't, I don't know. I think that most of the time there's room for everybody in the Big Ten except like Leonard Peikoff or somebody that I actually just actively hate. But I mean, discussion is good, and I don't want to be like, oh, mom and dad are fighting. Oh, shut up, because like there is good debate, but like
communication's like the thing that libertarians are the worst at. So
yeah.
That's like, I feel like that's the crux of the problem. Like, well, no one knows how to talk to each other, so therefore we go nowhere and we end up fighting when we can discuss these things like civilized human beings.
Yeah, and also succeeding and making any progress whatsoever is what libertarians are bad at.
Right. I would like to see more actual getting the word out to non-libertarians about libertarianism instead of trying to debate, you know, which libertarian is the purest. And
right.
From what I've seen, you know, I haven't paid really attention to libertarian actual people on social media until kind of recently.
Mm-hmm.
And basically it just seems to be just people bickering at each other, not actually having substantive arguments, and just kind of trying to razz people and kind of decide, you know, who's the real libertarian. You know, you can't be libertarian because you want to be, you know, a feminist. And you can't be a libertarian because blah blah blah. And it's just, you know, it's childish, all the stuff, you know, especially relating to she who cannot be named. You know, and people really do treat her probably a little too harshly in there, you know.
Plus, she's very nice.
It kind of exposes an uglier side that I thought maybe I would hope that libertarianism would be above, but obviously, you know, no one's above trolling on the internet.
Yeah, I think a lot of the problem with this social media infighting is that people are framing the debate in the wrong way. They're framing it as looking at, you know, person X and as if he or she is libertarian enough, instead of looking at issue X and asking if it's libertarian or not. It has nothing to do with whether the person you're arguing with or a given libertarian person is libertarian enough. That doesn't matter I don't think that matters to anybody. the question is which issues are libertarian. So instead of framing the debate, as like a litmus test or a purity test, it should be about just which issues, not which people.
I like that framing because that makes me feel better about the fact that obviously there's some kind of standards within libertarianism. It can't mean nothing and everything. But at the same time, some libertarians that I really like, the more Cato and Reason types who have done great stuff, and some of them, are anarchists, some of them are more moderate, but they've done so much good, and most of them are bad on like war and really big deal things like that. And I want to say, like, we have to, there's a standard, but at the same time, like, kicking people out of the tent hasn't worked for the past 50 years, and I think it's time that we probably stop that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's telling that the person who's spread, done the best job at spreading libertarianism in the past, 10 years and getting it to this point where it's actually almost relevant, as a conservative from Texas, and his son,
Rick
a
Perry.
senator.
Just kidding.
These are the people who are actually getting the message out, and I think libertarians have been, pretty lax in actually making a difference, because maybe they're too worried about, infighting and not worried about, actually spreading the message to people who are out there who, want less government. I know they're there somewhere, so it's important that libertarians remember to reach out to other people instead of just trying to fight amongst themselves.
That sounds right. Anyone else to add to this endless topic?
Yeah, just that there are people being kicked out of the big tent for tailoring messages for purposes of outreach, and they're not tailoring those messages in the right way, where it plays into that litmus test thing. And that's like infuriating. Why we're trying to grow the movement, but it seems that on social media, it's like not conducive at all to that. Don't reach out to those people, because if you tailor the message in the wrong way, then you're abandoning everything that you believe in.
Yeah, that's tailoring the message is actually a really important thing that I think people have been forgetting about. Like, I wrote stuff for Reason that was not full-on burn the mother down. And my Vice stuff, I don't write, by the way, I'm a libertarian, so the entire state is terrible at the end of every column. And I don't feel like a sellout. I think it helps if you don't advocate for, the slur against Reason and Cato types is efficiency experts for the state. And I have a friend who worked for Reason Foundation, and he got really tired of feeling that way. That's what he was doing. So, but I mean, tailoring though is totally important, and I've done that, and for years, and it didn't even occur to me that I must be a sellout because I commented on Jezebel that all libertarians aren't old white guys, and some of them are even feminists. Like, I don't think I'm going to Liberty Hell for that.
I think the big tent approach is crucial. Like, I'm a big fan of the big tent approach, and that's my favorite thing about Students for Liberty, is that it embraces that big tent approach and works with everybody. So like, it's for the people who are like trying to say like certain person or she who shall not be named aren't a libertarian, like that they can get out of the tent. Those people can get the fuck out of the tent if they're worried more about kicking other people out rather than talking about issues.
But that's going to kick out everybody too, because every libertarian does that, is the problem.
Yeah, but I mean, it's
the general point. Yes, I mean, I agree.
It's one thing to like make a tweet about it, and there's another thing people are just like, that's like the only thing they seem to be concerned with. I see a lot of that.
Yeah, me too. Okay, I think I kind of lost track of the sun, but also how far we've gone on time today. So I think we should wrap up. But actually, you know what? Let's just do this proper. Okay. Tell me one thing, like in the last week that you guys, or like 10 things real fast that you guys have been enjoying that is not politics and has nothing to do with politics. Joe, go.
Let's see. I've been enjoying the Penguins, who are probably going to lose tonight. I really want to see Godzilla, but then I read the reviews and they're not promising, so now I'm bummed out.
Okay, Michelle.
I've also been following playoff hockey. Been cheering on my Blackhawks, who I think play tonight, game 6 or so. And this is my last official week as a wannabe Atlantean. I will be heading back to. I just wrapped up my an internship with the Foundation for Economic Education, so I've been rolling in that Coke dough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So heading back to Philly soon, but that's it.
And Cory?
All right, fuck hockey. I'm going to spend my time watching Star Trek Next Generation on Netflix, which is all I've done for the past week. So.
Okay. And I have enjoyed the new Willie Watson folk album, Towns Van Zandt. The Taylor Swift's Red album I kind of like, which is shocking, I know. And...
You're not a libertarian for that.
Yeah, kick her out. She's done. Cross the line.
But Julie Borowski, she said it was okay.
She's out too.
Yeah, fair. All right, fine. Everyone's out. That's the end of it. All right. And some other stuff that I don't remember right now. And, okay, good. All right, finally, self-promotion. Anything you guys are working on lately that you want to talk about in, like, before it turns 7:15? Go. Cory.
All right, check out Center for a Stateless Society. I write articles there. Check out Students for Liberty because I write for their blog. Check out dlmagazine.org because I write for their website. Check out the Libertarian website. It's in the UK. That's a really good website too. And check out the Stag Blog.
Oh yeah, that website's terrible. It never updates. Joe.
I've been pretty non-existent on the Stag Blog, so just follow me on Twitter. It's Stagwaldino.
Okay.
It's under my name. And that's it. I'll write again someday. Go to the Stag Blog because it makes me money.
Excellent. Michelle? Anything?
Check out the Foundation for Economic Education. I've worked with a lot of liberty organizations in the past, and this is the first time I've been really, really happy with my time somewhere. So yeah, just shameless promotion of what they're doing. I think they're really great.
Sounds good. All right. Well, Joe, Cory, and Michelle, thank you very much for joining me this evening for our very first Politics for People Who Hate Politics. You can check out my stuff at the Stag Blog, Anti-War, Vice, and Rare. And join us all next time, future audience who isn't there yet, because I think this kind of worked. So, bye, guys.
Bye.